PUB. We've got a presentation today from the IT department to look at our ERP. That's our Enterprise Resource Planning project that we've been working on now for a couple of years. And this has gone in front of the Technology Committee, which is comprised of 2 city commissioners and 1 PUB member. And this is a joint meeting because we feel that we're going to give you the information you need to make a decision today. If you don't, we can put it back on the regular agenda in 2 weeks to take action. But this is a joint meeting, and the reason for that is to take action if you're ready to do so. So with that, I'm going to let Robert do the short presentation and go from there.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Robert Acosta. I'm the Director of IT. I'm here representing today the ERP replacement project. What I'd like to do today is kind of give you all an executive level summary of what we're recommending today, and then after I give you that summary, go into the details of the journey of how we got to the recommendation today. So I'd like to start with, ERP. What is an ERP? I'm going to stand up just for a second. ERP is really a collection of business applications such as finance, utility billing, payroll, planning, permitting, and really they're a collection of applications that are integrated together. And what I mean by integrated together is that the applications share one source of truth for the data. Not like our existing environment, which we have a bunch of applications that are interfaced, and those applications they have their own data, and we work to synchronize those applications by interfacing them together. So synchronization is not very efficient. Sometimes it doesn't synchronize. So we're looking for an integrated system. So that's what an ERP is. It's really enterprise resource planning. So what I'd like to do is go to the next slide and kind of give you a high-level or executive summary of what we're recommending today. So first and foremost, our current financial system is really 13 years old. It's end of life, end of support. It's inefficient. We've outgrown it. And it's really getting to a point to where we have to replace it in order to continue to operate. The applications are going away. In late 2019, we received PUB, City Commission, and City Management's approval to go forward to replacing these applications. And we started in late 2019, but abruptly halted due to COVID. We lost over a year. And in late 2021, we started over again. From the time in late 2021, we have actually spent over 14,000 hours working on this project to come up with a recommendation of where we're at today, and that is to recommend Oracle. If you don't know who Oracle is a very large company. They're a $40 billion a year company. They were founded in 1977. They're headquartered out of Austin, Texas. They have 143,000 employees, and they're global. They're a global company. So our recommendation is Oracle. It's a $16.9 million project over 10 years. It's a subscription base. You pay every year to use it. So it's about $1.6, $1.7 million a year. We have right now in our budget, we have $6.7 million, which is 5.1 from the city, 1.6 from MPU. Our current budget right now covers the first 2 years of implementing the software and paying to use the software for the first 2 years. We actually have a $6.2 million deficit over 10 years. Now, if you look, 6.2 and 6.7 adds up to 12.9. That doesn't add up to the 16.9. We're $4 million short. We're not actually short. We have in our budgets right now today $500,000 a year that we spend to keep our current software up and running. Well, once we get rid of those and we implement the new software, the $500,000 will be reallocated and will cover the $4 million over 10 years. So it's actually, we're at about $6.2 million over 10-year deficit for the recommendation that we're proposing today. So what I'd like to do, that's a quick, high level, let you know where we stand, what we're recommending. We're recommending Oracle's solution. I'd like to do is go into the detail and give you the journey of how we got to the decision today, to let you know that this decision was not taken lightly. So start off is, how long does it take to even implement an ERP? To actually implement, it's going to take about 3 years. Right now, we are at the tail end of this blue area, which is the planning phase, and we're going to cover these 2 topics, the initiate and the analysis phase. That's where we're at today. We're at the end of the analysis phase. So I'd like to do is share with you the initiate phase, right now, first initiate phase is what's our business case? What's our justification for needing the ERP? Well, we turned around and we wanted to take two approaches to it. One, we wanted the voice of the departments of every employee. So we did. We did a survey and we asked our employees about our current financial systems, and 41% of the employees said that the current financial system is not giving them the information they need to do their job. 75% of the employees were in favor of replacing the ERP. So that was one, the voice. The second one is we wanted to look at the health of our current software. So what I did is, my team did, is we took the 3 mission-critical applications, which was our utility billing, our CIS. Our CIS software standard support has ended. We're on extended support. The software manufacturers told us that they're not doing any new updates to our current utility billing software. And if we want to stay with that company, it's a complete rebuy and re-implementation of the software. We have to pay them for new software. It's a subscription base. It's in the cloud, just like Oracle's. And it's a play to reinstall it. Second was Acela. Acela is our asset management, our permit, planning, work order system. Same thing. Acela is now becoming into its sunset stage. It's switching to the cloud, and it's a complete rebuy again. So Microsoft GP, that is our main financial payroll HR system. Right now, GP support ends this January. After January, we will no longer receive updates or tax updates. So that means by next January, IT department has to figure out what are we going to do in order to receive tax updates to be able to withhold the right withholdings out of everybody's paycheck. So that's just next January. So that kind of tells you we have the voice and we have the sense of urgency on the applications, on the health of them. And that's what's driving us. That was the first initial. Now that we had that 2 information, we approached the concept of, well, not concept, we created a project charter to find out what our objectives were, what our missions were, and how do we define success. Once we got that, we took that to city management. We got a rough estimate of a budget, and we got city management's approval, PUB, and then we got city commission approval in 2019, and we started. And that's kind of where we're at right now. In step 3 of the initiate phase is we started, we got the approval, okay, let's go grab our workforce and let's move forward. So what we did is, right off the bat, we have an IT team comprised of 7 people. We're really, this is not an IT project, it's a city project. IT is leading and managing the project. But it's just too much authority for one department to make a decision for the entire organization. So what we did is we turned around and we created a steering committee. And the sole purpose of the steering committee, which is comprised of directors, assistant directors, city management, public utility management, or MPU management, and that's their sole goal. Their sole purpose is to make decisions on the project. So once we had them ready to go, we needed our workforce, right? We needed our subject matter experts, which are derived from every department. So we turned around and we reached out to every department and we asked them for their top A resources to help us with this. And ultimately, there were 70 people that became our workforce to configure this solution. And that's what we did. So we spent so far to date just planning for this 781 hours, planning just to prepare and organize ourselves to get this project moving forward. That moved us into the analysis phase. So the analysis phase, we turned around and said, okay, what do we need? What do we need out of a software? We need to know our business requirements, our needs. So we had those 80-some team members turn around, create our requirements, which we actually came out with 3,000 requirements. But every requirement had to go through this circle for validity to make sure that it's valid. It was a need. It was a want. No, sorry. It was a need, not a want. It's going to have a high impact for the department, you know. And so and actually, since we had multiple departments requesting requirements, we turned around and found a lot of duplicates. So we narrowed that 3,000 down to 2,000. Once we had what we needed in the software to do our jobs, we turned around and we created an RFI. Well, actually, we spent 7,558 hours between 80 of us to create these requirements. So we turned around, now that we had those requirements, we started and we created a request for information, an RFI. We publicized that, and we had 18 vendors download those requirements, and of those, we had 10 vendors actually responded. We took those response, we graded them based on out of the box, how much of their out of the box does it meet our needs. We scored them, And then we turned around and we scored all 10 vendors, and we took their names out. They were anonymous. We took them with their scores, and we presented it to the steering committee and had the steering committee vote on the scores, and they narrowed it down to the top 5 vendors without knowing the vendors' names. And we spent 1,180 hours just on this section alone. So we narrowed it down. So we started with 18. We're down to 10. Now we're down to 5. The next step was, okay, we need to see those vendors. We need to see their software. We have 5 vendors. We participated in 5 weeks worth of demos, looking at the software. Each vendor got 1 week to do the demos. We made sure that what they were showing us was functionality that we wanted to see. We didn't let them show us what they wanted to show us. We wanted them to show us what we needed to see. So they showed us that. We did 5 weeks. We turned around and had the SMEs grade each vendor. Right? As they saw the demo, they graded the software. So we then took the vendor background financials, had them submit financials. We did all the background checks. And then we turned around and submitted all those grades and everything back to the steering committee. And the steering committee voted and actually went down to 2. So we went from 18 to 10 to 5 to 2. We're now down to the 2 finalist vendors. We spent 4,187 hours just on the demoing with all the SMEs, looking at every application, grading it, asking questions. We're a total of about 13,000 hours so far cumulative that we've invested in this. After we did this, we turned around, and the last stage or step of the analysis was looking at references. We started off with references and price negotiations. We wanted references for the same size city and for sure larger cities to make sure that this software has room for growth. We did those references. We conducted 4, 2 for each one. We have a primary recommended vendor that we're recommending today, and we had an alternate secondary vendor, which was Oracle and Tyler. We did references on both. We conducted 8 rounds of price negotiation. We wanted a fixed pricing. We didn't want time and material that they could nickel and dime us. We wanted a 10-year price lock, a 10-year total cost of ownership. And then we wanted an 18-month, oops, sorry. I just messed up. I clicked the wrong button. I got to squeeze through this. Sorry about that. Okay. So we asked for an 18-month implementation. Why did we ask for 18 months? Is very aggressive. We're too large of an organization. But the problem is we're on a time constraint with our current software that are being sunset in the end of life. We knew this in 2019, but COVID really messed us up, and now we're really pressed for time. So 18-month, and then we narrowed it down to our finalists after all of the grading, after all the price negotiation, reference checks. We came down to Oracle. Oracle was the best fit that all the SMEs and the steering committee felt was right for the organization. We spent 560 hours here. A total vested as of today, where I'm sitting at today, to get us here is 14,266 hours from all the resources that participated. And that's where we're at today. I'm standing here before you recommending that we get your vote to move forward with Oracle. So here are the top 2. I'll show you. Oracle is at $16.9 million for over 10 years. You pay every year subscription-based. Tyler was a little bit less, 13.38, about 3.5 million less over 10 years. We have 6.7 in the budget. So it's either 620,000 more a year for Oracle or 260,000 a year over 10 years. And that's where we're at today. Questions?
I mean, I guess I'll start off with, I won't even pretend I know what y'all need, you know, and that's the reality. I don't think any of us really understand fully the applications, the interfacing, all that type of stuff. So we will pretty much depend on you all. My main concern is always going to be price. Is this, because right now we're at how much a year?
Right now we spend $512,000 a year for our existing software. It's to keep it, to maintain it. Keep in mind, our software are 13, 15 years old. So the new all software, the way the softwares work now, what we have is the old methodology. If you go buy the software, you put it on your PCs and you use it until it dies. That's gone. Everything's in the cloud now. No product. We didn't receive out of all 18 vendors, no product offering is on premise now. It's all in the cloud, subscription based. Very similar to if you have Amazon, you pay every month to use it. Similar concept.
What was the difference between, I guess, Oracle and Tyler? Even though this is less expensive, you're all recommending Oracle.
We're recommending Oracle, and in case the question is, the next slide I have is a comparisons on the two. The reason we didn't choose Tyler is really because of our current experience with Tyler. Tyler had an okay product, but I want to focus first and foremost on this bottom left red box that I put. One of the reasons that we didn't pick Tyler was they've done us wrong to date. We have Tyler in our police department, we have Tyler in our court system. Support has been sporadic. Police department support's been good, court system support has not been so good. But the most upsetting part for us right now is back in end of February, beginning March, the City Commission approved for us to go out and buy Tyler's fire record management software. And we bought it, we got the approval of City Commission. We were supposed to be 100% live on the software as of October this last month. Here we are today, November. We haven't even started the project. Delays. And they just told us that we won't even be able to start it till January, and they won't have us live till June or July of next year. In the meantime, we went out, we bought laptops, devices that are going to go inside the fire trucks. All of this equipment that we purchased is now aging. We can't even use it. By the time we even get to go live with it, which what they said is in July, it's going to be a year and 5 months. That equipment's going to be a year and 5 months old already. So we're a little discerning about that part. That was one of the. Yes, sir.
How did they get to number 2 though?
They got to number 2 based on the SMEs voting on the functionality that they saw in the software. Some departments voted pretty well for it. It covered their needs. Some departments it didn't. But at that point, we were just looking at meeting our functionality, not even pricing at that point. We were looking at how the SMEs graded it, on how it met their needs. And that's how they got to number 2. The problem is, majority of the problem of the company is, can they do what they say they can do? Can they deliver? This is an 18-month to 2-year implementation, and we went out and bought a $280,000 fire records management software, and they can't even deliver. So that's our concern. That's our concern. 2, we checked references. Right? Oracle references were pretty positive. The 2 Tyler references that we checked they weren't bad, but they weren't great. They were okay. And then of the references, both references, other cities experienced the same delays that we're experiencing. And then one city even mentioned while they were implementing it, they had poor software interoperability. Tyler's own software wasn't playing nice together. They had their court system, and they were implementing the ERP, and they couldn't post the batches every night. Court was collecting revenue from citations. Well, the account numbers in the court system were 8 characters, and then in the ERP, they were 10 to 12 characters, so they couldn't import the batches every night. And that was their own software. So we had to do, the city had to do a translation to translate the account numbers so that they fit. That was another bad reference that we weren't really, they had a workaround, but.
Of the top 10 in population cities in Texas, how many are using Oracle?
Oracle had, in Texas, I think it was 40 cities in Texas. And we checked, help me out guys, who were the cities that Dothan, Alabama was one, and they were in Alabama. Oklahoma City. We looked, for Tyler, we looked at Richardson, a lot of the Houston areas were Tyler. But Oracle had the larger cities, had the population 400,000, 500,000. Tyler, the largest city they gave us was 150,000 for a reference, and smaller. So,
Robert, at what point you started out with these companies were all anonymous? You didn't know who you were looking at with their proposal?
When we first sent out the RFI,
yeah.
They responded, and we took their responses based on what we said they need their software to do.
Okay.
We took that information and graded it, and we had all the grading of what they said they can do out of the box. We withheld their names from the steering committee and had them vote based on those grades.
And these two surfaced as the top two.
Out of those 10,
Of those 10.
5 surfaced.
5 surfaced.
And then we took those 5 and we had all the SMEs, the steering committee, and the IT team demo and look at those software. It was a week-long process for each vendor. And then we narrowed those 5 down to 2 based on how the SMEs graded them.
Okay.
So it's been a very lengthy journey. You know,
14,000 hours is quite a bit spent in it, needless to say. I know from the utility side, we appreciate all the hard work, but 14,000 man hours is a lot of hours to put into something. But it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
It's
money.
a lot of
It
money.
is.
And back to the mayor's question about $2 million, and a couple $1 million difference, it's very important, but I can understand if you're not getting the service, it can be a lot more costly over a period of time, and if you're not getting the product that you really want.
Anybody else?
Is there a close number 3 company that you guys checked besides Tyler?
The next, we looked at Infor, we looked at Workday, we looked at SAP, Oracle. I think Infor was probably the next closest software. It was third in line. But the problem was we were looking for an integrated solution where one vendor. Infor had too many third-party partnerships with other companies that we don't do utility billing, so we need to bring in this company. Well, we're going to be right in the same boat where we're interfacing them now and having to synchronize the data, and we didn't want that. So we tried to reduce the amount, part of the background and reducing the amount of functionality, or comparing the functionality out of the box. That's where we were comparing the other vendors. So we did look at Infor. Infor was our third, and they actually ranked a little bit higher than Tyler, but they had so many third-party applications that we were going to have to bolt on and interface them, and so they kind of dropped down to the third spot instead of second. Tyler moved up above them.
You checked on Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. Which software did they use?
We checked with San Antonio. San Antonio, you all remember? SAP. San Antonio was SAP. Yep.
How about the other one? Austin?
I don't remember, Commissioner.
Just to check up,
Yeah.
what is it that they use and what is the feedback that we can get from them?
Yeah.
on these things?
Yeah,
And I'm asking because, we're talking about $17 million.
Uh-huh.
Even if that is 500, we already utilize every month, but you're talking about 1.7 million
Every year.
Yeah,
So,
1.7 million.
we need to be careful and check all the avenues, that we have, at least to make the best decision for the city.
And I think we all have a lot of confidence in you guys and in our staff. I think McAllen has the best of everything. So, and I've never thought that anybody would intentionally give us bad advice. So, I'm telling you, what makes it difficult, though, I think for everybody, is that we can't see it.
Yeah.
There's no building, there's no pipes, but I know we need it.
Yeah. Well, and this is really a need rather than a want.
Right.
Our current softwares are going away, and if we don't do anything about it, we're going to be in a world of hurt.
I kind of feel like a resident. Sometimes, hey, I don't see this, I don't see that. Well, it's underground.
Yeah. Well, and I think once we implement it, we'll see it because, right now, we have multiple credit card merchants. We don't leverage our credit card purchasing. Now, with one solution.
But we're still not going to see it. You all will do it.
Well, but we'll see, the citizens will see it because they'll have one portal to go and pay their utility bill, pay their tax bill. We'll now be on an integrated system rather than having multiple disparate autonomous systems, So once it's up and running, we're going to see it.
Well, we are McAllen, and we have to be at the forefront. So, Roy, what do you think? You knew we were going to ask you.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's certainly more money than we anticipated when we started the project, almost double. And believe me, all those questions y'all are asking, they're valid. I asked them, I'm like, why is there such a disparity in the two? If you had 18 and we're down to 2, you would think that that the curve would be a little smaller. I wish there was enough positive to go with Tyler, because we can make up that gap rather quickly. But the staff has advised that it's just not the right thing to do. And me, I'm about the bottom line. We've been going back and forth on this issue for several weeks, getting ready for this presentation. And it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I know that Oracle will work. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And the question is, how close can we get with Tyler for that amount of difference in monetary value?
But if we're having problems already, I don't see the purpose.
Yeah, no, and it's not that.
I agree with you, it's gonna be a.
Yeah, no, and it's not so much that we have a problem. We knew this day was going to happen. In 10 years, we're going to be doing the same thing. You know, we may replace it with an Oracle solution, but we're going to replace our system. It just does not go that long.
Yep.
And, you know, I was here when we did it the last time, and in fact, we went with the second best the last time due to cost. We were in a much different situation back then than we are now financially. And so it makes it a little easier to go with the best product. But we did the same thing. We went through the whole process, a whole year and a half, same as Robert has done here. And so, I mean, my level of confidence in his recommendation is very high. The dollars is obviously the concern.
Anybody else?
All vetting has been done as conflicts of interest and that sort of thing. We're confident with all that. We don't have any issues there, and we've discussed that
Yes,
along
sir.
the way, that we don't have uncles and aunts, cousins and sisters and brothers and all that kind of stuff.
No,
I have to say that, so it's a lot of money.
Definitely, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, keep in mind, I'm presenting the solution, and IT helped to drive the project, but ultimately, it was the steering committee as a committee
Sure.
who made the decision to where we're at today.
Sure.
IT made no decisions.
Okay.
This is a meeting.
Anything?
Yeah, you can take action if you feel confident today.
And recommendation is to approve at that amount.
Yes, sir.
Y'all negotiated and everything.
And I want to make the point again, and Robert made it at the beginning of the presentation, is we've got the money to buy it, we've got the money for the capital, and we've got the money to maintain it for year 1 and 2. And so year 3 is when we'll have to come up with that difference, and we will.
And Mark, you can speak to the utility. We got $1.6 million.
Yes, sir. We actually budgeted for that last year, but obviously it didn't get done last fiscal year, so we're going to, matter of fact, it's on tomorrow's agenda
Make an
to
amendment.
make the budget
Push it
amendment. Yes, sir.
I can have a motion.
I would make a motion to go with staff recommendation, enter into a 10-year fixed cost solution with Oracle.
Or a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. That's for the city.
Thank you.
Public
Thank you all.
utility that asked for motion.
I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
I hear a second. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, to go with staff's recommendation to go to Oracle.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Mayor, on the city side, we have an executive session on this agenda, and I believe PUB is going to adjourn.
And we'll recess into executive session.
Mark, just have,
One notice.
I need to adjourn the meeting, please, Al.
This concludes the workshop of the McAllen City Commission. Workshops are held every second and fourth Monday of the month, convening at 4 p.m. at the McAllen City Commission chamber on the 3rd floor at McAllen City Hall.
Talents for audiobooks for many years to come. Troy